Hi everybody, John Michael Bailey Injury Lawyers. Today we're going to be talking about chapters 5 and 6 of this book, 2 + 2 = I'm Hurt. We're going to be talking about T-bone collisions at the B pillar. I'll explain that in a minute. How it can affect your life now, how you can be hurt, and most importantly, what that insurance adjuster never wants you to know. Okay, let's get started. But let me start by saying this. I practiced law for 45 years. We have offices in Tennessee and Mississippi. We practice in a lot of different states. We're licensed in a lot of different courts. And I am a lawyer. I'm a good lawyer, but I'm not your lawyer unless you hire us. Now, you can begin that process because we'd love to look at your case. We'd love to help you. And you can begin that process by following this link right here. It'll take you to the website and you can begin that process. Or if you're the impatient type like I am, you can pick up that phone and call me now at 888-WE-FIGHT. Our phones are answered 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We never close. Our motto is, if you're hurting, we're working. So if we can help you, pick up the phone and call us. We'll be happy to look at your case. But in the meantime, this is information, not legal advice. Now, let's get started. You know, I said we're going to talk about B-pillar collisions. A T-bone. Well, the T-bone part's pretty self-explanatory. It's a collision in the shape of a T. One car hits the other from the side, either from the passenger side or if you flip them around like this, from the driver's side. Typically, these are done in intersection collisions usually as a result of somebody ignoring or running a red light or a stop sign. These collisions are generally the cause of a lot of injuries that people don't associate with the trauma. And what happens then is they don't realize that they've been hurt because sometimes it takes a while for the injuries to manifest themselves. So they don't report it to the doctor. The doctor doesn't document it. The doctor doesn't treat it. And because it is not reported, not documented, and not treated, they go uncompensated. No insurance adjuster is ever going to give you the information that you're going to hear here today. You know why? They would rather go on a little Caribbean vacation and drink umbrella drinks with a bonus they get for cheating you out of what you rightfully deserve than take care of you and your family. Typically, these types of collisions are done at speed. So you'll have one car driving down the road like this. You'll have the other car either ignore or run the stop sign, and you will hit just like this in what I call a punch type of collision. Typically, in the T-bone, it's referring to right here in the middle, between the front and the back seat, on what is called the B pillar. Now, you're going to hear me talk in some of these videos about the A, B, and the C pillar. So let me go over that and show you what I'm talking about. This structure right here, this part of the door and the frame of the roof is referred to as the A pillar. This post down here that the door swings on and also supports the roof is called the B pillar. And it's generally lines up with the back of the front seat. This structure right here that comes down and goes into the wheel well is referred to as the C pillar. So just so that you understand what I'm talking about. And when you open the door, you will see that there is actually a structure right there, a metal structure, and the door will close on it. Now, you also have sometimes sedans that have a B post like this and not a B pillar. I'm just bringing this up because I know sometimes when I get into these and I throw these terms around, people don't understand what I'm talking about. So that's why I wanted to go ahead and bring that up now. So here we are, and we've got this collision like this. So what happens when you're in that type of collision? Well, if you're in the front seat, your body is going to be thrown this way. Now, what's that going to bring about? Well, the first thing I'm going to tell you is that you may have your seatbelt on, the shoulder strap, and if it's not exactly side to side, you could be in a twisting motion, which would be like this. And if you twist like this, it's going to come across your shoulder like this, and you need to look for rotator cuff injuries right there. you're going to need to look for concussive type injuries and brain shear. Now, this is for both the front passengers here. If you're a passenger, if this is happening on the other side and your body's thrown like that, you're going to be looking on the right-hand side for rotator cuff issues. You're also, let's go back to the driver, because you're thrown this way, you know, your seatbelt hooks in right here, right by your left hip. And so you're going to be looking for hip injuries right around here, okay? The opposite side for the passenger side, if you're hit and you go this way, this is where you're going to run into the buckle right here. Now, this right here is your femur, and that's a pretty strong bone. But if we get older, a lot of times we lose bone density. It's something that just happens. That's just the way the body is built. And where this can really come into play is this little bone right here. That's your femoral, the top of your femoral, and it's the one that goes into the hip joint. That is not as solid nor as dense as the regular femur. And so a lot of problems can come from that, from the trauma, okay, for either side of that. And you have to look for that. And the way that shows up, it'll show up sometimes 3 weeks or a month later with a delayed bruise. You're not going to understand where it came from. Or suddenly you'll notice that when you walk, you have trouble with your gait and you're walking or standing. You may not associate that with the trauma that you suffered in the wreck. And if you don't have a trauma-trained personal injury claims lawyer examining the evidence of the wreck and getting a detailed medical history for you, you're not going to get treated. You're going to suffer in silence, and you will not be compensated for that injury. So that's what can happen on this way. You jostle back and forth. But your head on either side, once you're slammed this way, inertia is going to bring you back this way, and this is what can happen. If you're the driver, this side of your head can hit the B pillar. If you're the passenger, this side of your head can hit the B pillar. What does that mean? Well, let's take the top of Ralph's brain off here, and let's talk about that. The brain is an incredibly complicated organ in our body, but it cannot swell and cannot heal the way the rest of the body does. It has no ability to swell because it's in a contained system. But what can happen, because of the way that the skull is built, let me show this, right here is like a cup. So what happens is the bottom half of the brain stays in the cup and the top half can go back and forth. This causes inside these little areas brain bleeds. It's called brain shear, where it goes back and forth, and all the little micro capillaries and everything in here, this part stays down, this part stays in the cup, this part stays in the cup, and this part right up here can go back and forth, and little micro capillaries can break and bleed. This is very, very serious, because once your brain bleeds, the only thing the body can do is eventually reabsorb that blood, but it leaves holes in your brain like Swiss cheese. Yes, holes in your brain like Swiss cheese. Very, very, very serious. So that's why you need a trauma-trained personal injury claims lawyer looking at your case. That's what John Michael Bailey injury lawyer does. Lawyers do. We do it all day, every day. Now, let's talk about some other matters. If you have this type of brain bleed, you can find it, but you have to have a special kind of MRI. It's called a DTI. And what it does, because it's magnetic, it picks up on the iron in the blood that has been deposited into the brain by the brain bleed. Now, these same types of injuries back and forth can also apply to the back passengers too. So what we're talking about here is we're talking about a brain injury. We're talking about rotator cuff injuries. We are talking about hip injuries. All of these come out of this type of collision that most people would not associate with this type of trauma. Now, let's talk about some other things. Let's talk about PTSD. Let's talk about sleep disturbance, things like of that nature. All of these can also come from this. We didn't really understand what brain injuries were all about, really, or even how bad PTSD was until our veterans started coming back. You know, we were at war over in the Middle East for over 20 years, and our veterans kept coming back with this problem, and it was horrible that they suffered it, but we've learned a lot from that. So PTSD is very real after these accidents, particularly if you see the car coming. That's a very real thing. And if you don't recognize it, if somebody doesn't ask you the right questions, you're never going to know that you're hurt. Lastly, I'm going to talk about ligament laxity. Ligament laxity is a stretching of the ligaments. I've talked about this in other videos, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention it here, which means when your neck goes like that or like that, you can see there's a tremendous stretching of all of these discs and all of these nerve roots and all the ligaments and the tendons. Now, the thing about ligament laxity, this is what the insurance adjusters just can say, oh, that's just whiplash. That'll go away in 2 or 3 days. He's a liar. Once your ligaments and tendons are stretched, they never, ever, ever go back to where they were, ever. It is a lifetime injury, and for that lifetime injury, you deserve lifetime compensation, but you're not going to get it if you don't know you have it. Again, that's why you need trauma-trained personal injury claims lawyers looking at your case. And you have, when your neck goes like that or gets twisted like that, you know, you have the problems just like that with disc bulges when your neck moves like it's not supposed to. And these things may not show up for a couple of weeks. So you might go to the emergency room thinking you're okay. You've got, some pain meds, and the doctor says, go see your doctor. And you're thinking, well, I'm fine. I'm going to be okay. That's a mistake. That's going to cost you not only your compensation, but it's going to cost you enjoyment of your life. Your best bet is to immediately pick up the phone and call a lawyer. You don't have to call me. You can call anybody you want, but you should pick out a trauma-trained personal injury claims law firm who knows what they're talking about and who knows how this works and who knows how to go toe-to-toe with the adjusters to make sure that you get to the appropriate doctor so that you're treated the way that you need to be treated and so that we can put you on a path to a better day. Listen, this accident didn't happen because you did something wrong. Somebody did something wrong to you, and it's simply unfair for the insurance company to profit off of your pain. But if you don't go toe-to-toe with them, if you don't fight them and go tooth and nail with them to get every bit of justice you deserve, they will never, ever, ever give it to you voluntarily. Now, that's a pretty good explanation, but again, it's in the book. It's not available for download yet. We're probably going to do that. I've just got to figure out how to do it. When I first wrote it, the only place I knew to put it was on Amazon. But don't go buy it. I don't want you spending money on it. Let me try to get it available to you for free. But this is a good overview of the injuries that you can suffer when you have a T-bone collision. Now, finally, we're not trying to sell anything here. Just get this information out. We understand that YouTube has a grumpy old man that works for it named Mr. Algorithm. And he has a girlfriend that's equally grumpy, and her name is Analytics. And we're trying to keep those two as happy as possible. So please help us like, subscribe, and share. Listen, tell your friends to check this out. Send them an email, share it, throw a rock through their front window, send them smoke signals, whatever you got to do, tell them, please come check it out. We would really, really love to help. Finally, if you need any help, if you want us to look at your case, we're more than happy to do that. Again, you can begin that process by following this link right here, and you can begin that process now, or if you are the impatient type like I am, you can pick up that phone and call me now at 888-WE-FIGHT. Again, our motto is, if you're hurting, we're working. You deserve the compensation that you're entitled to for the harms that were done to you. Don't let the insurance company take advantage of you. You can call us anytime, day or night. We'd love to help. I'm going to close by saying, if you can hear my voice, I wish you peace and joy. And as always, I hope to talk to everybody real soon. 888, we fight.